have with us Mr. Rahul Dash. He is the co-founder and the CEO of Purplle. He is of PGP 2009 batch. He's the co-founder and chief operating officer at Purplle and has built one of the largest vertical commerce business with a strong technology backbone in the country. Under Rahul's leadership, Purplle has reached about 10 million customers a month and has about 4,000 direct and indirect employees working. They have a strong focus on diversity and inclusivity. Welcome, Rahul. And
Thank you. Thank you.
yes, congratulations on winning the Young Alumni Achievers Award.
Thank you.
What does the award mean to you? And
I think getting it from your alma mater, in my opinion, is a big deal. I may kind of cultivated the various facets of who I am as an individual. I also got to experience a lot of entrepreneurial zeal when I was there in IIMA, when I met ex-entrepreneurs who had kind of graduated from IIMA maybe 20, 25 years back, coming to campus and kind of sharing their learnings with us. That was super exciting. So I would say uh, it just made me a lot more resilient as an individual and a lot of belief in myself on what I could do. And that's in my opinion, is a big ingredient into becoming great.
thanks. You were working in the Tata Group before, graduating from IIM. And what motivated you to be an entrepreneur and what motivated you to start Purplle?
So I joined TAS, the Tata Administrative Services, right out of PGP. And after joining TAS, fortunately, what ended up happening is, Tata Group has a lot of different kind of companies, and you can do projects in different companies, and that's the typical rotation that a TAS officer goes through. Um, I was fortunately put in situations by the group, given opportunities in very early stage efforts that the group was, taking on at that point in time. This was 2009-10. What you see today as Tata Sampann, which is one of their consumer brands, which now has a big, SKU list, started off with a small team in 2008-9, where we were trying to source, urad dal for us to package and sell. The brand was also not called Tata Sampann; it was called something else. I don't remember the brand exactly. So I was put in a small village. I would not even say a town, called Pudukkottai, right next to Trichy in Tamil Nadu. And my job was to figure out if there is a way I can aggregate urad dal farmers, process them, and get it to Chennai. That was like my first experience, right? This was, you're like 23, 24 years old, and you had no idea. You keep going from IMA, and this was the first project. From there, I moved into this company called Tassel, which is Tata Advanced Systems Limited. So this was Tata Group's first joint venture to manufacture aerostructure in India. So we were basically trying to manufacture the fuselage of a civilian helicopter with Sikorsky, which is a US based defense organization, aerospace manufacturing organization at least. So um, my job, I mean, the second one was to go and uh, set up a factory which was doing riveting for this aerostructure. So basically, these kind of things is what Tata Group exposed me to. I think that pushed me in a direction to say, okay, this is super exciting. I would want to kind of build something. And then I started doing, strategy work with Tata Power, and realized my calling kind of lies in something that is smaller, in something that is more 0 to 1 and whatnot. I would say that uh, that helped me in my journey to becoming an entrepreneur.
Well, quite a journey. And Purple has is in a very highly competitive space of beauty and personal care market. What do you think has differentiated Purple from others? And Purple is in fact a unicorn. So
Yeah.
what are the factors?
So, uh, you know, there are two incremental aspects to the market in addition to being competitive. One is a very large market and very high growth market. So there's a lot of value that is getting added to the market every year, right? And in terms of new consumers coming in, new formats coming in, and whatnot. Uh, we basically identified a direction in which aspiration was moving in our segment, as in the market. We zeroed in on a specific target. So we basically go after a lot more Bharat as compared to a lot of metro luxury-based audience. So I mean, I would say uh, that's one of the things that we did, and uh, which is just a directional call that we taken at that point in time. All of us come from very small towns. Right? I'm from Bhubaneswar. My co-founders are from Durg, Faridabad. At that point in time, these are smaller towns in 2011-12 when we started. So the TG selection was important, which kind of puts us in a different direction. We also invested in ensuring that we get very high quality brands of our own, which was the second part that differentiated us. So if you look at our business today, about half of our business comes from brands that we own, which is very unlike a lot of our competitors in the market. There's a second part thing that differentiated us. And the last and the most important part is data and technology focus. We at the core of it, we are a technology. We just happen to be in the beauty segment. So uh, and that the focus on that started in 2014-15. I mean, we're just engineers, so we thought things can be solved using technology. I mean, obviously we were um, ludicrously positive minded at that point in time. We've learned how to use them and where to and where not. But at the end of the day, that also became an extremely important pillar to why we've done whatever we have done in a competitive environment. So I would say TG selection, relevant, high quality brands of your own, um, and technology and data. I think that's what has helped us.
And what challenges did you face when you were scaling Purple? And how did you address and overcome them?
Different. So we've been there for 12 years. So let me divide this into first 4 5 years, next 4 5 years, and the third 4 5 years. First 4 5 years was convincing people that this is even possible, and convincing brands that they should be selling on a vertical platform, convincing investors that vertical platforms will exist and become large. I mean, at that point in time, Amazon had just entered the market. I mean, we started our business before Amazon started this
Hmm.
business in India. Flipkart was there earlier, so Flipkart was an inspiration. Um, uh, so first 4 5 years was that. Second 4 5 years was a lot of building blocks, I would say. So the first set of technology data stack was getting put together. We launched our first brand during that time. So there was a lot of pivotal learning that happened during the next, I would say, 4 5 years, which has shaped the business in a certain direction. So everything was a lot more 0 to 1, I would say 1 to 10 during the next 4 5 years. Third 4 5 years, I think the last, I would say 2020 onwards, uh, it's been a lot more team institution building and all of that. And that's been a key focus area, trying to kind of get people to work with you, having them aligned to a vision which is a little more contrarian. We're not really exactly how a standard beauty. If you start making when we present our business to people, we get these surprise looks because the business is very contrarian. I mean, a standard way of building business is how you would see a competition building
Hmm.
business in beauty. I mean, which is great. And uh, so so aligning people to that vision, it takes a lot of effort. And we're not really media savvy entrepreneurs, right? So we're a very heads down operating kind of people. So unless you speak to us one on one, there's hardly any influence that we are exerting on you through media. Uh, so that was an effort. So last 4 5 years has been trying to build that team. I think we've been able to build a solid see. And when we look back, and we've never looked at this data, and now we look back and say, okay, how many people do we have from elite institutions? I would say about 40 45% now, which didn't happen by design. It just happened uh, over a period of time, trying to build brick by brick each of them, convincing each of them. Because from our perspective, we typically look for slightly longer term alignment.
Hmm.
Culturally, whether you're aligned is more important than your skill set that you bring to the table. I'm assuming if you have a learning mindset, you can learn most of the things. We're not rocket scientists, so it's not. Okay. So, so I think those are the three phases, right? First, second, and third 5 years of our life.
And you focused on the tier two and tier three consumers, right, in cities.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
how did you build a brand that resonates with them?
yeah. So, look, I think understanding what value means
Hmm.
to that audience is an important, starting point. So when we
Yes.
so when we got into this, there were two realizations, and this is 2012. This is pre D2C brands era, and you see a lot more action today. Both assortment at a certain price point and service that you can provide to that consumer was missing. So you had
Hmm.
only very limited high quality assortment at a very expensive price point. I mean, expensive as in this was in 2012, this was like 1400 rupee per lipstick or 1500
Hmm.
rupee per lipstick, right? Those were the only lipsticks that were available in about 25 50 shades. Uh,
Hmm. Right.
those were or a 3,500 rupee foundation were the only foundations that were available in say 25 30 shades, right? Rest of them were three, two. You were basically optimizing for whatever consumption uh, the elite guys were, or like
Hmm.
the tier one guys. Right? So this was not even afforded uh, uh, to the audience, to our audience, that is our TV. So our job was to figure out how do I do this cost effectively, which is where technology came into picture, and how do I get that quality to you at that price, which is the other part of the equation that we have to kind of uh, work towards. I think as long as you're able to find uh, the sweet spot of value uh,
Hmm.
for your consumer, um, I think that um, is potentially the starting point for this entire exercise. So we've invested in both things. The technology makes us more efficient in everything that we do, significantly more efficient, I would say. Um, and the whole investment in R&D products that we've done over the last 6 8 years allows us to kind of get stuff to that consumer at a price point that will work for them. I mean, you don't necessarily need to pay those kind of prices to get that kind of assortment or that kind of service. So now we're extending that to our offline stores. So and which would basically be an upgrade on your neighborhood beauty store. So you can just walk down to a beauty store 300 meters from you. You'll get the same kind of service that you get when you go to a fancy one, and you'll get the assortment that is relevant for you at the right price. So that's something that we are now extending in the physical world. We've typically remained digital, but now putting those things out for people to experience different behavior that they exhibit. So that's what we ended up doing.
Your company has used technology in very innovative ways. You've used
Mm.
virtual personas, to test makeups and you suggested makeup depending on personality. So, what
Yeah.
role does innovation play in Purple?
So I think that's, I would say, our existence is the way it's, I mean, there's no to this. We uh, we think that technology is both efficient and effective uh, when used properly.
Hmm.
And for you to do that, you have to kind of believe that that this is directionally this is what you would want to do. And that was just yeah. So that started with that belief, and we extended our technology from starting to use the profiling of a consumer to now uh, how to create products. You know, we have a technology system that predicts how to create. We have a technology system that predicts how to market. We have a technology system that allows us to create content at a much cheaper cost as compared to anyone else in the industry, because we'll have to kind of educate people when we are creating these brands. We have technology system that orchestrate where to have that inventory and
Hmm.
in what quantity and so on. So forth. So there is that's moved in a direction to solve both, you know, availability of assortment and affordability uh,
Hmm.
for for our consumers, much beyond what you would have seen in at the front end. There's a lot that happens at the back end, which allows us to do what we do. But for us, technology is existence. It's not even, or I would say, innovation which goes beyond just technology. There's innovation that we do on the R&D side. Lot of we prob- I think in the last 1 year, we got about 15 different formats to the country, which were product formats which never existed prior to that.
Oh,
And so that's the core of who we are. And we think that as a company, uh, that's how we will remain. And
hmm.
when the markets can change and what segments you're working can change, but the core of will still remain technology.
Right. And in your company, I've seen
Sorry, sorry,
policies
I
like,
don't hear you. Just
is
it's,
it, can you hear me now?
just give me one second.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you say something?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Hold on. Earphones out. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So I read your policies where there is a focus on employing as many women as possible. Up to 50% of your workforce are women, is what I read. And also, you have specially abled personnel working in your warehouses.
Yeah.
So, can you talk about these initiatives?
Yeah. So um, we about we've not reached 50 yet. We're at about 45-46% women in our workforce, and that includes feet on street. That includes warehouses and all of that put together. This is not just
Oh.
head office or HQ or not. So it's done by design. There are a lot of roles where we think that women do significantly better as compared to uh, men because of their sensibilities beyond the training that they both
Hmm.
men and women can be trained in the same thing, but
Hmm.
just because of the sensibilities, they're just way better. We also try and see as an institution what we can do to help people around us, and which is where we around COVID when things were shutting down, we partnered with the restaurants were shutting down because everything was closed and all that. So we partnered with the chain of restaurants where um, which used to employ people who can't speak. So you had
Hmm.
deaf and dumb uh, um, folks who were in that restaurant. Amazing concept, by the way, in Bombay. Um, and we started small. We took like 10, 15 people that point in time because getting them acclimatized, they should also feel comfortable. And
Hmm.
that's been taken up really nicely. I mean, our warehousing head, uh, very surprisingly, although it impacts all of his metrics on what he has to deliver, very surprisingly took it up, and we now have about 15% people in our warehouses who cannot speak or properly hear. They're trained. There are supervisors assigned who are empathetic uh, to working with different kinds of uh, folks in the organization, so that you know so that people feel welcome. And we think as we grow, we will prefer to uh, create these kind of positive impacts uh, in and around the community that we are working in, right? So, as an intent, uh, we personally do a lot of stuff, but these are things that we've tried to do through the institution, and we think it's a big platform where we can whatever we can do, we or less is how we think.
From whatever you have told me, I feel that your company tries to do things differently and is not afraid to be the first one to do things differently, be it employing specially able or using technology at the forefront or targeting a different audience than what could have done. So, is it something that you have, you bond with this kind of a thing of being a leader than a follower?
I have no idea. We just think uh, that if you don't solve the harder problem, then the
Hmm.
value that you will create would be commensurate over a period. That's the
Hmm.
belief that we go into everything. So, uh, and we don't have we don't have an intent to be contrarian for the sake of being contrarian. It's
Hmm.
not the way we think about it. Um, but if I sit with anyone and someone asks me, okay, this looks simpler and this looks harder, I mean, in 90% of the cases, the harder problem is where a lot of value is. It needs a little bit of grit, belief, and perseverance. But
Hmm.
if you're able to crack that, that creates a larger impact. I think that's probably the reason why we've kind of picked up some of these. And there'll be more. And there are
Hmm.
things that we are working right now where we will fundamentally change the way a technology organization is supposed to.
Hmm.
We have a lot of organizations which are using technology, but they're not necessarily technology organizations. There's a lot of stuff happens still manual, a lot of people thrown at the problems and stuff like that. Ideally, it shouldn't be, but
Hmm.
but that's how it is. And hopefully we'll be a pioneer in that as well, where we become a true blue technology organization.
Hmm.
Even after using all the technology that we use, we don't think we are still a fundamentally technology. We're using technology in some cases. We're not a tech organization fully, and we want to be that. And maybe in a couple of years, maybe in 2, 3 years from now, we will have more to show on how a tech org is supposed to work. Uh, but let's see. I don't know whether we were born. I mean, like all of us come from middle class backgrounds. Our parents were. You can look at teachers, government servant, bankers.
Hmm.
That's it. In within one of all three of us who were in that zone. So I don't know where it came. But we didn't have any exposure to even think like. So it all. Uh, I think those memories got built. Muscle memories got built later as you kind of went through. Uh, Obviously, you had aspirations built into
Hmm.
who you were because you as when you were growing up, a lot of struggle and
that allowed you to kind of become more resilient. But that's about it.
Hmm. And now, after winning this award, what are your plans for professionally and personally? What do you want to achieve?
Huh. I've just become father to about 20 days back. So
Oh,
that's a big change in my
congratulations.
personal life. Thank you. And that's one of the reasons why I couldn't come to the to campus. Actually, that was the
Oh,
only reason why I couldn't come to campus,
oh,
because they were born
wow.
on 30th. I think this program was on 4th of November, so there was no way I could travel. But so that's a change in life that has happened. And we've kind of now looking at our journey in a with blocks of 10 years. We used to look at it as blocks of 2 to 3 years earlier. With wherever we have reached as an institution right now, and as founders, we're all 39, 40 years old. So our belief is that we have about 40 more years to go when we hang up our books. So that's about 4 blocks of 10 years. That's four massive compoundings that you can do. Because that's the amount of time it takes for you to is what our feeling is.
Hmm.
Who knows? Maybe we will create an institution as large as the group that I came from, the Tata Group, which then uh, also has that kind of foundation can be carried forward. And I'm hoping that I can do that while also being able to spend time with family and all of that. So it'll be interesting to see how that balance plays out. It's not an easy. Theoretically, you can say a lot of things, but it's not an easy balance. So let's see, two very large goals and two very young uh, human beings to bring up, and a big institution which is a responsibility with about 4 decades to go from
Hmm.
now. That's the way we are kind of
We wish you all the best for the
thank you.
future and may you succeed and may all your plans come true. Thank you for spending time with us and talking about your journey.
Thanks. Thanks a lot.
Thank,
Thanks for having me, and it was a pleasure. Have a very
yes,
good day.
thank you.